Hello, welcome to my home. My name is Lisa, and this is my channel about cross stitch and quilting and creating, and it's where I get on and blab about what I've been up to. So hopefully something will be interesting for you. Hope you all have a beverage of choice and that you have your stitching or whatever you're working on tonight, and you can multitask, and I'll tell you when to look up. It's Wednesday, August 18th, 2020. It's about 8 o'clock at night. And so hopefully the overhead lighting isn't showing all of my bags under my eyes, but anyhow. I've had a fun day today. I got up and I came into my sewing room and I just started playing around and I finished a couple of things. So I thought I would share them with you. I have worked on a little bit of stitching the last couple of weeks, and anyway, I thought I would share with you first some of the finishes that I did. So today I made this little piece into a pillow. It's a freebie. And you know what? I meant to get online and see exactly who the designer is, and I forgot. So I'll try to put it in the drop down box once I have my video up for a little bit. It's got cute little pumpkins. I just used a little plaid on the back, little check. And then instead of walnut crystals, I bought some of that lizard stuff. What the heck was that called? Hold on. Okay, so it is actually walnut shells that is ground. So it is a little bit finer than the crushed, I think. But it's like super cheap. I think this whole bag was like $8 or $9. So I just realized there's a hole in the bottom. So I have to remedy that before I mess around with that bag too much. But anyway, I'm real happy with the look it gives. It's the same as just the high dollar walnut crystals or walnut shells that you buy. So anyway, it's a give thanks, and I will try to figure out who did the freebie. Super cute. I don't know, I did that a couple years ago, I think, in Mania. So I finally finished it today. And then I also worked on the little freebie by Hands On Design. It was on the hashtag Be Well and Stitch. And so I just made it into a little pillow, little floral fabric on the back. I used one of those little bulb pins and just did a little butterfly. I was looking for a bee, but I'm all out of bees. So anyway, so that was fun. I did that one. And then I also worked on another hands-on design that I had finished recently. And it's Humble Honey. So I was able to get that made into a little pillow. I just used a little star fabric that I had. So anyway, it turned out cute. I used the same walnut shells in that. So then after I worked on that, I also had another one. I had a freebie by Pinker and Pumpkin. This is one of the ones Melissa has on her blog. And I was toying with whether I was going to make it into a pillow and I felt like it was going to be a little big for a pillow, and I didn't have a frame small enough. So I was toying with doing it on a project bag. And so I got started on it, but I had to go get groceries and, you know, adult a little bit today. So anyway, so this is as far as I got. I decided to try to just put 1.5 inch strips around it, and then I was toying with either making it just a little mini kind of quilt, little mini quilt to put on my stitching area. But then I thought, oh, the majority of it will be all covered up. So now I'm kind of leaning towards making it into like a project bag. So I figured it might be kind of cute. I could just sew some more strips on it to make it a little bit more of a rectangle. Anyway, but that was kind of fun. But then I had to go get groceries and cook dinner and all of that stuff. So I haven't had a chance to get back to it yet, but I was liking the way that was turning out. So that was my morning in the craft room. I had plans of doing this one, which right now the name of the designer escapes me on this one too. I feel like this was a freebie, like freebie hour here at the Abbey house. But anyway, I went down in the basement and I found this frame that I had got for 50 cents. It's like a shadow box. It's a little bit deeper. And I thought, oh dear, that would really fit pretty nice in there. But I don't know that there's room. It's just a very small area to fit it in. I don't know that by the time I put the fabric on there and put the foam core in there, if it'll all stay. So I kind of hesitated and I thought, oh, let's move to something else that you know how you want to work on it. And so that's when I started on this little guy. So, but it was a fun morning. I had a good time. It felt good to actually do some sewing. Okay, so we'll show you what I've been working on a little bit. I've been building houses. Let's start with this one. So this is by Plum Street, and it is A Gentleman's Daughter. And it was funny, the other day, I just had a little bit of time before work, and I've been kind of stalled out working on this one because if you've been here before, you realized I had messed up on these two outside windows. I had made them one stitch too small, which meant that the sashing inside of the window wasn't lining up. And so anyway, I got kind of discouraged with the whole project, and I haven't worked on it since. Anyway, and I glanced at it and I thought, oh, that's just silly. So just rip it out. So I did. I ripped out this window real quick before work. I think I had like an hour or something like that. And I told myself, just rip it out, and then maybe you'll have time sometime today to put it back in. And so I had plenty of time, so I hurried and ripped it out, and I stitched the window. And then as I was just putting it away, I thought, well, isn't that just something? I can't believe I was able to get that done, and I've been putting it off, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't rip out the cream because I was going to have to rip out this whole section, because of course I did rows this way instead of this way, and so just to take out one row wasn't going to be an easy task. So I just stitched over the stitching, and you don't even notice it. And so anyway, I was real excited. I thought of you, Kim, when you talked about, you know, that you would stitch over things. I thought, well, Kim will do it, so I should try it. So anyway, it worked out fine. And then I was just putting it back into the bag, gonna go get ready for work, and I realized I stitched it in the wrong color. I don't know what it is with me, but I pick the wrong colors all the time. And so I used the roof color instead of this. It's a little bit darker brown that I used on all the others. So now ask me if I'm going to take that out. No, I'm not. I'm just going to keep on going. So my plan is to, I went to Joann's, I think, on Monday, and I bought like 5 or 6 different browns that I thought this might be, because I can't find it written down anywhere, and I don't know what color it is. So I bought a bunch of different options. I thought maybe tonight I might work on that. So, But then after I did that, I just started continuing down with the house because I had not done any of this stitching underneath the first row of windows. So I was able to get the house all stitched in, and then I did the majority of the flag. I have a little bit more to do in that. And then I started on the berry basket. Anyway, I was just cooking with gas on this one. So even though I stitched the one window in the wrong color. What a dork. So, wish me luck on trying to figure out what color that is. Got no idea. Okay. So that was that one, which I got really motivated. I'm very excited to work on that one again, so I need to figure that out. Then I put a little bit of work into Summer at Hollyberry Farm by Stacy Nash. I worked on the house on this one too. So this is where I'm at. Oh, I should have pressed it. It's all got a big old wrinkle in it. So I did the little lady down at the bottom and her little flag that she's holding. And then I started working on the house. So I filled in the little, what is it, little dormers or whatever over top of the windows. And then I started working on the house. And I told myself, oh, I don't need fancy floss. So I just picked ecru to do my house in. But then after I did this, I worked on Gentleman's Daughter, which is a fancy floss that I used. And now I'm kind of kicking myself for not using the fancy floss. But anyhow, but boy, I love Stacy Nash's patterns. But talk about getting dizzy trying to read her symbols. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just enlarge it, because I swear when I look at this, I just get half cross-eyed. I love her patterns, but that's a little bit it's a little bit hard to focus on. Okay, so and then I worked a little bit more on another white house. And so I had showed this last time, and so I just filled in a little bit, just a little bit more of the house. I think I had just done like this top peak or something like that. So I just did some mindless fill in on that. But it counts, right? And I've done so little stitching, everything has to count. It'd be like a 2-minute video. Okay. That's all I got. Anyhow, okay, let me find the cover picture for this one. I did a little bit more. I woke up at like 2 in the morning one day and couldn't sleep. So I went out and did some stitching. And so I was able to get this third flower done. I did the stem and then the flower, and then I started filling in the grass underneath. And then I finally felt like I was tired enough to go back to bed, and I did. So anyway. And then when I was getting floss the other day at Joann's, I was able to get my white satin DMC that I talked about using for my sheep. So I put a little bit of work in Jardin Privé, History of Sheep, and I was able to get the little sheep on the hill, and then I started on this guy, and then it was time to go to bed. So like I said, there hasn't been a huge amount of progress on anything, but I'm still having a good time. That's the important part, right? It's not a race. Okay. So I was able to get a little bit of happy mail. So I'm excited to share with you a possible new start here pretty quick. My friend Angela sent me a JBW design antique rooster sampler. She's done it. It's super pretty. And as much as I love like the red color or whatever, I'm kind of leaning towards doing it in blue and putting it over in my dining room by my blue and white dishes. I have a little cabinet that has a lot of blue and white dishes, and I thought, ooh, that would be pretty. So I'm looking forward to starting that. That was on my agenda to try to pick out fabric for it today, but I didn't get that far. And then she sent me over Country Cottage Needleworks, and it is To Be Thankful is the name of it. Super pretty. So thanks, Angela. She also sent me a couple of freebies. You know me and freebies. I love those. And then she sent me some fabric that she thought might be linen. And I don't think it's linen. It's just, but it's very pretty. Which leads me to another little segment that I wanted to talk about today. So, I don't know, probably about 3 weeks ago, I went over and I was able to help my uncle, and my aunt had passed away a couple months ago, and so he had asked me if I was interested in any of her sewing stuff. And he said he just wasn't really sure what to do with any of it. None of the people in his family other than me were interested in it. And so I went over and I said, well, I'll help you, clear out the room and try to find a home for some of the stuff. Anyway, and so there was a couple of machines. There was a serger, which I don't really know anything about other than, just using it to finish off the edge of linen and things like that. But I really have no idea what all you get into when you use a serger. Just a minute. Sorry, I can feel myself start to feel like I'm going to start coughing. So, anyway, and then there was another machine. There was another Janome, and it was just a little machine, and I just assumed it was just a regular sewing machine. So I brought it home, and it didn't have a manual or anything with it, and so I just Googled it to see, and here it turns out it's an embroidery machine, which I knew she had one a while ago, because I remember seeing some of the stuff that she had done with it. But I guess when I visualize an embroidery machine, I think of stuff that has like multiple spools of thread and things like that. And so this didn't have that. And so I just assumed it was just a regular sewing machine. So anyway, I Googled it and realized that it is an embroidery machine. So I have to look into it some more. So if anybody has any kind of expertise in embroidery machines and want to give me a hand on what I've got and what I can do, I'd appreciate any of your comments. So it was funny. So she had some fabric, but not much. And like her biggest stash, I think, that I went through was the thread. And it was funny because my uncle was saying, well, I'm kind of surprised that, you weren't more excited about, the cloth, he called it. And I said, oh, I mean, it's all pretty, but I'm just so excited about the thread. And he just started laughing. He's like, well, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. I thought, well, you haven't watched Flosstube, or you would have heard that quite a bit. But like, for instance, so there was just a random box, and I didn't even have any idea what it would have been. Hi, sorry. And then I opened it up, and honest, I mean, I felt like angels started singing. I mean, it is just an incredible box of thread, and it's just the prettiest embroidery thread. There's just tons of colors. Some are bright, but then there's a lot that are very subdued, but just beautiful, beautiful thread. Um, but I wasn't even sure if it would fit in this machine. Because I don't ever use like cones or whatever. She had a ton of cones with thread. And anyway, like I said, I always just thought you had to use those on machines that had multiple thread. And I don't know, maybe she used to have a machine like that. I have no idea. But anyway, I'm just really anxious to see. Now, I did put the spool on there and it fits. I just haven't taken the time to play around with it yet. Like I said, it didn't have a manual, so I think I'm gonna look into downloading a manual because I'd hate to mess it up. But anyway, yeah, so that's gonna be my new adventure, I think. It's funny, I've never really been like into embroidery, machine embroidery, in the past, but anyway, I want to kind of look into it and see if there's something like I had even toyed with today. I thought, well, if I had made this into like a little quilt, I could use some of the little designs that are on the flip up thing for it, to just do, you know, like a little decorative stitch in the ditch on my little mat here. So anyway, I don't know. So if anybody has any expertise in embroidery or has any kind of tutorial that they found helpful or whatever, like I said, I haven't delved in too much to it. It ends up, it is a Memory Craft 9000 by Janome. So anyhow, but I thought worst case scenario, I could set it up over here and use it whenever I'm using my other machine on my quilting frame, because my other machine has a much bigger throat that would hold a lot more quilt. And that's what I had, you know, that's the reason I had bought the one that I had bought. So I thought, well, if I set up a quilt, then I would have another machine to use, you know, when I've got one set up over there. We'll see. But I was very thankful that he had thought about me and offered them to me. So anyway, so now I've got to learn about a serger and an embroidery machine and get up on all the new stuff you can do, I'm sure. So anyway, I do have a couple of things. Oh, and there's a fly in my room, which is driving me nuts. I brought in the groceries and I left the door open, and now I've got a fly that I'm trying to kill. But when I was looking for something else today, I ran across this one. Silver Creek Samplers, Izzy Decayin. Anyway, I thought, oh, I had forgot about this, and wouldn't that be cute on a project bag or someplace? I don't know. So, kind of debating on whether to start that, or should I do the rooster thing? Or there was another one here that I had just purchased not too long ago. That one is calling my name. I feel like I should start something. I mean, I finished 3 things into fully finished projects. So, I mean, I feel like you have to, right? All right. Well, I hope whatever you're doing, it's bringing you joy. I hope you enjoyed your visit. I'm hoping to continue to stay at it and have something to share with you. Hopefully I can come back in a couple weeks instead of, I think it's been like 3 weeks. So we'll see. But I hope you have a great night. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.